Wherever the tide is out, there's always a whole other world to explore. And this place is bursting with life.
This rock is alive. There are critters all over it, and they stick onto the rocks. They feed on the little microorganisms. And the best thing on this rock are the giant elephant snails. My guess would be that it's carnivorous, and on the menu are other starfish. It's moving around this pool, hunting, and it is massive.
The sound of the sea, a game of cricket on the sand, and a good read. All the joys of a visit to the beach. What could be better? Well, for me, it's rock pooling, the time-honoured tradition of scouring a rocky beach to discover some jewels of the sea.
No matter how old you are, rock pools can be a bit of fun. Whether you're looking for starfish that turn their bellies inside out, octopus, snails or shells, it's a great way to get outdoors and explore.
Now, rock pooling is easy. All you need is a reasonably sheltered, rocky seashore, a good pair of sturdy shoes, a good smear of sun cream, and if you're out for more than a few minutes, you'll need a hat too. Today I'm somewhere special. This is Tasmania and I'm at the tessellated pavement. This place is famous around the world. Basically, the cracks were formed when rocks fractured by the movement of the earth split even more over time as salt crystallised between the cracks and began disintegrating them from within. That didn't happen overnight. It took millions of years of that tide coming in and out, replenishing the salt. And it's that tide coming in, and more importantly, going out, that offers the opportunity to investigate another world.
This rock is alive. There are critters all over it. Now, the most common one are these sightons. Now, sightons are a prehistoric mollusk. Look like a trilobite. They've got 8 parts to the shell, and they stick onto the rocks. They feed on the little microorganisms. But one clever thing they do, and it's like the slaters or some bugs that you might find in your backyard, they can curl up in a ball, just like this, and that hard shell protects them. Now, the best thing on this rock are the giant elephant snails. There's one stuck to the top, there's another in the water here. And they're not like any snail you'd be used to seeing. That's their shell, and it's only just on top. The rest of the snail looks like a slug, and they're slimy. They get their name because of that nose, looks like a trunk. And they too just feed on all the organisms around the edge of these rocks.
It's really important you consult a tide table before you set off. You don't want to be caught out either way. Tides can turn quick and in no time can be in and around you, so be careful. Sea anemones are found the world over and come in all shapes and sizes. Some nearly 2 metres in diameter.
They have their little tentacle-like arms just waving out there in the water. And when an unsuspecting bit of food comes past, they might be sticky or they might sting them. Either way, they then close and envelop themselves and digest whatever it is that they've caught. These are called cushion starfish. They come in all sorts of colours and sizes. And starfish are pretty amazing. If they lose an arm for a particular reason, they can simply grow it back. But the way they eat is what I like the most. They actually turn their stomachs inside out and they regurgitate the digestive juices onto a rock and they eat the algae and microorganisms. There you go, you can see that one's eating. All of that food there is what it's picked up off the rock and now it's starting to digest it. They actually stick to the rocks with all these little arms. They're all folding in now. Now, the important thing with any sea creatures that you find is to put them exactly where you found them. These little environments, even in a short distance here, are really different. I'm going to pop them right back in their little spot. Number one, there you go, it was stuck to my hand.
I'm rock pooling on the southeast coast of Tasmania. Wherever the tide is out, there's always a whole other world to explore. And this place is bursting with life.
All of these shells here are mussels, and the beds just cover the rock, and they're secured to the rock. They're fastened tight. But at the moment, with the tide out, they're closed. When the water comes in and covers these rocks, they open up and they begin to fill to the water. And in doing so and passing that water through, they extract the nutrients, and that's how they feed. There are 2 tiny little orange starfish just here, and when I pick them up, they might not look that impressive, but they are. They're endemic to this area. That means they're found nowhere else on Earth, just southeastern Tasmania in these tidal margins, and they're called live-bearing starfish. go, there's two. Now, I told you they were small. They've actually got 5 little arms, but they're almost the shape of a pentagon. And they get their name because their babies actually develop under the skin in little sacs. And when they're ready to hatch or be born, they break through the surface of the skin. They live right up high here in the tidal margin, and they do that because they're so small. They're a cannibal starfish out further, and if they live there, they'd get eaten.
The thing you don't need when out rock pooling is a net. They can hurt the ecosystem, so it's best that you just use your hands. You'll be pretty safe with most sea creatures in rock pools, but if you're not sure, just leave it alone. They say time waits for no man. Well, I reckon that applies to the tide as well. Now I've got a few minutes left to seek out something special. I know they're here. That's the other thing about rock pooling. All it takes is a little bit of patience. Something will always turn up.
There's one critter I really wanted to see here today, and it's taken me a fair while to find one. But he's under this rock. Look at that. These sidons are everywhere, just prehistoric, and they look it. But the one I was looking for is just here. And I bet you can hardly see him because he is perfectly camouflaged. Oh, there's two. Another little one. It's called a decorator crab. And it gets the name because it decorates itself to camouflage from predators. Now that weedy-looking rock is in fact a crab. And if I turn him over, you can see his nippers just on the inside there. Let's see if he'll walk. There he goes. You won't find camouflage much better than that in the animal world. And there's another little one here, a tiny one. Not camouflaged quite as good, but still looks exactly like a rock. And when they get big enough, they'll head out to sea, but for now, this is their nursery and this is where they're safe. Now, no trip to a rock pool would be complete without a crab. And what a special crab that is. I'm going to put him right back where I found him. I've just found a ginormous starfish. I'm not exactly sure what species it is, but my guess would be that it's carnivorous. And on the menu are other starfish. It's moving around this pool, hunting, and it is massive. Look at that. And they're pretty incredible. If they lose an arm in a battle, they just grow it back. And inside here, that's where it digests its food. So what it would do is actually get over the top of another starfish. It turns its stomach inside out, and that would actually cover and envelop the other starfish, and then its digestive juices start to break it down. What a beast. 7 arms, and when it moves in the water, these little tentacle-like things stick out and you can see it feeling its way. I think when it finds another starfish, that's what it's going to do, is put that arm over, slowly move over the top and engulf it. I'm going to put him back there. It's spiky and slimy and sort of feels like it's going to hurt me. See you, mate.
I reckon I could go on for hours looking for seaside wildlife along these shores. But it's time to make a move before that tide comes in and catches me.